Hello, it's 7:13 in the evening on Wednesday, June 21st, 2023, and this is the WORT Board of Directors meeting. I am Dave Devereux Weber. This is my last meeting as board president and as a board member. So hello all. Let me see. Oh, there's so much to be done. I want to bring up my agenda and my minutes document before we start, because otherwise I'll be hopelessly behind. I am anyway, but boy, everything is messed up today. It's just a wonderful day.
I had a hell of a time with Zoom here. It blocked my video for a while and I had to reinstall the whole thing too.
So here's our agenda. I hope people have had a chance to see the agenda. I have 5 emails in my inbox, but those are all people saying, "What's up, Dave?" Are there any changes or corrections or additions to the agenda? Stu, go ahead.
Yeah, I would suggest that since we have the annual meeting in a matter of days and we'll be electing new board members, that we forego electing a secretary at this meeting. I will serve as secretary for tonight to take notes, but I don't think we need to deal with that tonight.
Okay, I have an item on the in the drive called agenda for today's date. So
Right, and what I'm saying is that if we're up to the point of adopting the agenda, I'm suggesting
okay,
that we strike elect secretary from the agenda.
okay, I will do so.
Well, I mean, that was my suggestion that the body has to act,
I guess you gotta make that a motion, Stu, because I'll second it.
Yeah.
I'll second.
I have one as well.
I don't think we need to vote on each correction. We'll just vote on acceptance of the final agenda when we're done. How's that?
Fine.
Yeah, and mine only is just a duplication because the agenda item in Shelley's report is unnecessary because we're already covering it in policies and bylaws regarding bereavement. That's my only change.
Yeah. Okay, understood. Thank you. Are there any other changes or corrections or additions? Hearing none.
I have nothing, but I would like to thank the staff for sending the reports in. I think they're all here by Sunday, if not by Monday. Who can handle it? Anyway, I got to read them all in a timely fashion. Anyway, most of them were there. Let's keep working on that.
Okay.
Good to hear, Dean. Thank you.
The draft minutes have been out on the website and have been in the Google Drive for a while. Are there any additions, corrections to the May 2023 draft minutes? Hearing none. we will consider the May 2023 draft minutes approved. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and make this a little bit smaller so I can see that. So, and then I'm going to switch to minutes just so that I can make notes.
No, I'll take care of it, Dave.
Okay, good. The next item is communications from the public. I don't have any at this time. Executive committee actions since the last meeting.
Yeah,
Did you want to handle that, Stu?
yeah, it's in the report. It dovetails with aspects both of Shali's report and of policies and bylaws regarding the request from staff, the issue of bereavement leave pay for Nate. It arose from staff. They were concerned they did not have sufficient authority under the $300 limit to cover it. It turned out once we got the numbers from Mary Joy that was in fact the case. It was $572 for the full week. I thought symbolically it would be nice to have the board and the staff represented equally, even though obviously we're ultimately authorizing the money. But I thought having each of us go in at the 286 was a nice gesture, and that's what the executive committee has done, and that's my understanding is what staff has done as well to handle the situation. And then we've got a policy to come up later on the agenda, but that's what the executive committee did, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And my thanks to Shali and the staff for responding in this way as they did to Nate.
Very good. Any questions about that? All right. Moving on. The next item is committee and staff reports. The first one is Treasurer and Finance Committee report. The Finance Committee did not meet in June, and we do not have a treasurer to make a treasurer's report. We can, however, share our bank balances spreadsheet, and I'll do that now. So this is a spreadsheet that I put together to show our total bank balances. We have some money at Summit Credit Union, some at Heartland Credit Union, and some at Ocean View. So all of those are shown on this graph, and that also shows trends for what are going on. And then there's comments on the graph as to what may have caused some of the changes in the graph. So as you can see, our combined total and our Summit's totals have gone down, but that's for money that we invested in the audio over IP equipment and the expenses for WORT stock. The corresponding revenues from WORT stock will show up next month. But I've been wanting to have this graph for some time to show everybody where we are financially over the fairly long term. So are there any questions? Stu, go ahead.
Yeah, first, can you remind me the details of the Ocean View matter?
It's annuity. It's an annuity, and it receives a higher rate of interest than we were able to get at Summit or Heartland. So we moved let me see, we moved $50,000 from Summit over to Heartland. So
Okay.
that's what this drop, I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer.
Yeah.
That's what that drop is. So
Okay.
it didn't disappear. It went over to here. So
Okay, and Summit is where all the general revenue gets deposited
right.
and the checks are written. Okay, thank you.
Yep. And Heartland in 2020 received our $99,000 PPP loan. So that's why that went up down here at Heartland, and we have not moved that money out of Heartland. I have selected a higher interest rate account for our savings at Summit, our Summit money market account here. But that just means we're going to get a little bit more interest than we were before.
Right, but we've still got 100,000 in savings, not in the market, the money market account. Wouldn't it be better to have it in the money market account? All of it?
Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about there's 99,000 in Heartland savings and 50,000 in Heartland market. I assume the market has a better rate than the savings.
That's correct.
So why don't we move that 99,000 over into the market?
That's okay. Usually the finance committee makes such recommendations, but I think the board can make such a recommendation too.
I believe we already have.
I'd be more comfortable having it come from the committee. I'm just asking the
No,
question.
No, but I'm sorry to interrupt, but the finance committee did already make that recommendation to move those funds as well. We just haven't made a determination on which account to put it in.
Okay.
Which of the two money market accounts to put it in?
Or another type of investment.
Okay.
We moved part of it, but we haven't moved the other part yet.
Okay.
And Susan can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's where it stands right now.
And who is taking the laboring or to make a recommendation on where to move it to?
The finance committee.
Okay.
We're making that determination as a committee.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions?
Yeah, it's Dean. I've been had a discussion with somebody that kind of knows this stuff, and they even told me that is possible moving it to a 6-month CD under consideration as well, because the guy that told me says in the 6 months you could get double what a money market could give you. Is that being discussed as well? Anyone?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's what the Ocean View thing was an attempt to do. That's not a CD, but it's an annuity, which has a higher interest rate. So
yeah, well then
we're paranoid about getting access to our money. So if we put in a CD, we take a loss if we take money out. So
yeah, there's 6 months ones that we probably would be the likelihood of withdrawing it would be low.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. So you guys, all right. That's good to know. You guys are.
Yeah, I believe the accounts that we're looking at, Dean, are even higher interest rates than CDs.
Oh, good. Okay.
I mean, we're looking at high return things right now.
Yeah, right. And good. Then let's see what we can do with that. We'll wait to hear from you guys back on that.
I'll just say that if any of you guys see anything that you think the finance committee should look at, you're welcome to send it to the finance committee. I mean, we're always we're interested, but just know that all of us are independently. You know, I'm going through my financial advisor to ask if there's things that WORT could use and stuff. She's being nice and letting me ask questions about WORT on my personal thing, but yeah, anything you got, Dean, send it to us. But
no, you
just
guys
know that we really are all of us on there paying attention and going to different banks and different other avenues to find out what are ways that we can invest that are safe, that leave our money relatively flexible, etc.
I'm confident you guys are further ahead than I am.
Okay, if there's no objection, I'm going to stop sharing the bank totals spreadsheet.
Mhm.
So I apologize. I have not looked at the program committee report.
So I'll let you know, Marty is trying to get in too. Can you see if there's somebody waiting to get into the meeting?
I don't see any indication of that.
Okay, I just sent him a note telling him to try again, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there somebody here from the programming committee who can address their report? I didn't see that until just now, so.
I believe that was prepared by Michael Pilsner, who is on his way out of the committee, but has been really crucial in seeing the annual renewal form process through. And I think he wanted to just give you guys a outline of the progress that's been made with the renewal form, along with like, here's what it can do. So kind of a defense of continuing to do it.
I will share that screen to give everybody a chance to see it who might not have seen it. I don't know who put that in the agenda, so. I don't complain. I just didn't see it until just now, so.
Okay, I'm slightly confused. I thought that, because this appears to be like a rolling rollout, and my understanding was that this was going to be an annual thing for an annual renewal at a specific time for each calendar year. Is that the case, or is this more of a rolling horizon?
We rolled it out, I believe, in February. Some people still have yet to fill it out. What Michael has done is transition us to something called Airtable, which Tom can weigh in on, but is a possibility to use for other applications and volunteer management and so on. It automates a lot of things in a way that is very helpful. And one of the things it can automate once you put the data in is follow-ups to hosts who have not yet filled out a form. So you email everyone at once. We sent it out on February 3rd, as you can see under milestones and outcomes. And it is still continuing to email people. I forget the frequency. We ramped up the frequency a little after that as kind of an email reminder of, hey, you need to fill out this form. And there are still a couple people who still need to fill out the form. The email address is correct. They just need to fill it out. Another member of the programming committee, Jay, who's a recent addition, has also taken on the administrative burden of calling all of the people who still have yet to fill it out, and helped prompt a couple more completion. But if you notice, it's a completion rate of 93%. And if you notice, it's also June. So that's how long it takes us to actually get a somewhat clear picture of the programmers and programming, which may perhaps give you an insight to the number of programmers, the number of communication styles that we do deal with, right? So I hope that addresses your question.
It does, thank you. Could whoever has a radio on in the background either turn the radio off?
That's me, sorry,
Oh,
I
sorry.
wanted to make sure it didn't glitch.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, she has a special radio on.
Yeah. I thought she was I figured it was, yeah, okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions about the programming committee report before we move on? Seeing no further hands, no further questions, we will move on. Next item on the agenda is Policies and Bylaws Committee report. Stu,
Okay,
would you like to handle?
And this is in conjunction with Shali's report, because it's essentially the same recommendation. And this was actually sort of an implicit committee recommendation, since the 4 members of the committee are comprised, the committee is comprised of 3 staff who had already supported it and me who supports it. So I regard that as an implicit committee recommendation. I think it's pretty straightforward. There's the unfortunate situation involving Nate's family called to staff's attention that part-time staff does not have a bereavement policy. They have 9 personal days. They don't accrue vacation. They don't accrue comp time. And they recommended that we provide a policy where we'll provide a week's salary of a week's scheduled hours for immediate family members, parents, siblings, spouses, and children of the employee. That seems a reasonable thing to me, and that's why the committee, as I say, implicitly recommended it. And in terms of what that means financially, for Nate, it was $572. He's $15.45 a week, an hour. So that gives you a sense of what it might mean in any one situation. It's certainly of greater benefit to the employee than it is a burden to us. So I hope we adopt this policy. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we need a motion on a committee report?
No, because it's the committee reports, committee recommendations. So
Are there any other items issues to discuss on this policy? Or are we ready to place a vote? Hearing no other questions, all in favor of passing this bereavement policy for part-time employees, say aye or raise your
Aye.
hand.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Are there any abstentions? Thank you. The motion carries.
thank you.
The Technology and Facilities Director report is in the drive. There are no action items for us to worry about. Thank you, Tom. The audio over IP project is going swimmingly, which means Tom's got it together and it doesn't work and he doesn't know why. And so he's working on that. So luckily we have an expert here. Laura is also very good with audio over IP. And so in fact, is Laura even here right now? Laura has dropped off the conference.
It was just here.
Yeah. Well, we can say things behind her back now. So, but anyway, Laura is the chief engineer at WSUM, and they run with audio over IP. So she's got a lot of experience with it. So that's why one of the reasons why I was so confident in supporting this change for WORT. So. Any questions about the Technology and Facilities report? Seeing no hands and no questions. Welcome back, Laura. I don't know what happened, but the weirdness.
The weirdness continues.
Mural project report. Patrick, would you like to talk about that?
Well, yes, I would. This is my last meeting as a representative on the board. So I'll recap. We had a very good discussion with the planning commission, or the facade team from the city of Madison. So there were 4 people on this call, and I started writing notes on this, and Shali is doing some of that in parallel. So she may come back and confirm or correct a few things as we go along here. But the things that came out of this, first of all, it was very well represented. We had 4 people that spent a full hour with us from the city, a lot of very senior people. The things that really came out of this that are overwhelmingly positive. A mural is within the scope of the facade. They have the Majestic Theater has got a mural that's going up soon under the facade grant program. The scheduling that we have is for us to apply now or as soon as we can, which will be, I'll get to that in a minute, but as soon as we can, and then to do the project next year that's not a problem for them. They're willing to work with that. The other thing that's very good about this is the dollar value, although we do have to work with the urban planning people as well as just the facade grant. It is $40,000 and we are eligible for that. There are a lot of other details I won't go into, but one of the things that is that came up is they do want to see our concept, or they want to see some details about what the mural will look like. So we are going to have to work on this. This is something we had kind of tabled until we figured out what the framework would look like. But now going forward, this is something that will be a priority to put together when we do our detailed application. I think those are the main things. Any questions at all on this?
Can I just add, Patrick, I was surprised when they kind of seem to want to emphasize that we let the artist have a lot of leeway, that we don't turn this into some kind of vote of what we're going to say we want, you know, on the outside of the building. We give them some direction, but we allow them to have, they seem to be against any kind of committee decisions on somebody coming to us and getting feedback from a committee that says, no, we don't want this there, or we don't want that. That was interesting to me. And I just wanted to put that in there, that, you know, they were very much in favor of pick an artist, give him or her or they a objective, and unless it's wildly inappropriate, go with it. Maybe that isn't what you heard, but that's what I heard from them.
So I thought, yeah, they were pretty open on that. Don't give too many options, because you don't want the decision to be made by somebody in the city of Madison. You want to be making that decision about what the design is.
But don't have a committee make it either. They were pretty firm that it needed to be a vision, not a committee vision.
Okay.
When it comes to artwork, I swear you never want a committee making the decision of what's going to be on a t-shirt, you know, what's going to be on a building. It's just a bunch of people that end up putting all their opinions in, and you get a watered down. I'll stay out of it. I'll stop. That's my own feeling on what happens to artwork when a committee gets involved. I'll mute.
Thank you. Other items, Patrick?
Yeah. Well, the things, first of all, thanks for the people that were on the call there, Stu, Shali, Susan, and Tom. But one thing that I will say is that, you know, I've said this before, but I think it'd be good to formalize that I will ask that I continue to serve on this as the chairman or the chairman of the mural team. So I think it's probably appropriate to formalize that in some way here. So I will do that. If there's a way that you want me to report up through someone here, or I'm flexible on that.
There would need to be another board member on your committee, and then the board member would be making the report to, right? Or are you a work group and not a committee?
We are actually a work group.
I don't know if we've even formalized that. Stu, do you remember if we formalized that? You're muted, Stu.
It's certainly not a committee, and if we'd done anything, it would be in a work group. So I think it's functionally a work group.
I believe, okay, maybe I recall that discussion, and it's consistent with what you've just said, Stu.
Okay.
So committees need someone from the board to sit on them, but what do work groups need?
Work groups need whatever the board tells them. I mean, the board can ask that. I would.
You guys never formally made this a work group. I was around that meeting when it happened and went back and looked when I was told that the work group for us for DEI needed to be recognized by the board and the board members. So I went back and looked. This one hasn't been, but can certainly take care of it today.
I'm going to move to rename the mural project into the Mural Project Task Force. Work group, I'm sorry, work group.
Yeah, and I might add too that events is also a work group. And I submit those reports through my staff report. So I don't mean to put Shally on the spot but as a, or I don't know, is Adrian on that team as well? Like that could come to the board through a staff report as like a supplemental, because I know that happens with other work groups.
Oh,
Susan
that's
does
true.
it with fundraising.
You're right.
I'm
the
asking for
fundraising-
that not to be the case, though. Patrick is the point on this, and I think that's the best fit for this work group.
I mean,
You
he
know.
could still submit to the board, not being a board member. I mean, that doesn't really matter.
We're just
I
saying
mean,
he wouldn't make announcements to the board. He would be submitting a report like the other groups do, Shally. Nothing to
Sir-
stop Patrick from submitting the reports. The thing,
Okay.
is, will they need to have an official board member going over what is said in them? And the answer is no, right?
I
Correct.
think I'd like to have a board member on that committee. Just as an observer, if nothing else.
Well, the new people can decide. I think that shouldn't be made a decision until maybe July, right? When the new.
Yeah,
people-
July is when we would do committee board assignments. So in the July meeting, when we confirm the executive committee, is when we also look at all of the committees and work groups and divvy up the work between the new board members and existing ones.
And I think that the work group should have some decision making. Like I've already said, the fundraising group is only made up of people who have been paid to fundraise. If you haven't received money to fundraise, it's a little bit harder to get on that group. And so it's not one that I'm opening membership to unless somebody is a paid fundraiser.
But that's not under discussion right now. The mural project is, so, no,
my point was, isn't it the work group that has before I was told it was the work group's right to determine who their membership was. That's what I'm saying. When you say there should be a board member, isn't that up to the work group or not?
No, that's up to the board when it authorizes the creation of a work group.
Dean has a hand raised. Go ahead, Dean.
Okay, well, I think we've heard that Patrick wants to continue in some form on this, and he's clearly taken the lead so far. And I think we've heard that he would continue to take the lead on this. So that's part of the information we have to go on. And I think let's decide this at the July meeting, but with the assumption that Patrick, thank you for volunteering to continue to stay on this, which I believe that's what your intention was. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And
That's right.
and you'd probably, and it would be hopeful and helpful if you continue to take the lead, which resolves that question, and we can find a board member to sit on there. And then if we have to formally make Patrick the chair of it or something, we can do that in July. But I think we're going forward. I think we've got it figured out. It's a work group. Patrick's going to stay on taking the lead, and a board member will join in July.
And by Shally has a comment.
Thank you. I can't figure out how to actually raise my hand on my phone. It can be addressed after this, though. I just have a question about work groups. And committees in general.
Start over. We lost you.
Yeah.
Dropping packets. Cell coverage bad.
Frozen. Nope. Nope.
No.
This can be.
Oh, there we go. There's Ashley in the comments. I think we got this.
Yes.
I think we got this figured out here.
I think that would be great.
It'll all fall into place.
Okay. Yeah, it's something that we should get moving on, because I mean, we've had the press already asking about this, which is a nice development, is trying to figure.
Okay, in terms of this discussion, Dean, you still have your hand up. Are you done?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm done.
Stu, go ahead.
Yeah, I did not have a second yet, so I'm going to amend my motion to redesignate the mural project as the mural work group and designate Patrick to serve as its chair. Period.
I'll
Would
say,
would you accept a friendly amendment of having a board member on the committee?
It's
So
a
I'm
work
working.
group.
Sure. And that at no later than the July meeting. No, I mean, we can make an interim appointment with an interim board appointee at the first board meeting following the
Annual
annual
meeting.
meeting. What did I say, Sheila? Did I not say work group?
No, work group's fine.
No, it
No,
was
see-
Dave. He said committee, and I just want to, we keep having that as a, just want it in the record. We're still with work group.
Did I say
I
committee?
corrected it to work group. I corrected it. We can go on. Is there a second to Stu's motion?
I do.
Dean
Second.
seconded. Any discussion of this issue? All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The motion carries. Thank you very much, Patrick. That's really a great thing to be doing.
Thank you, Dave.
Next item on the agenda is the engineering committee report. There were no action items, but they're always interesting. The next item is the business and events report, which is Doug's report. There's one action item that Doug put in there. Please sell grand session raffle tickets. See Doug. So you can go to Doug, get a pack of tickets and sell them. You can get a pack of tickets and buy them all yourself if you don't want to go through the bother of going to all your friends. Whatever you want to do, but sell tickets. Doug smiles and so he likes that idea. So
Can I ask Doug a quick question?
sure.
Yes, Susan.
Doug, if they want to go online and donate in the comment box, ask you to mail them tickets, would that work for you?
No, that is illegal. You cannot mail raffle tickets.
Okay, sorry. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next item is the listener-sponsored development report. There were no action items in that. Does anybody have any questions about the listener-sponsor development report? Any discussion? It's a long and detailed report, very good. Thank you all.
Can I just say a big thank you because so many members of the board were active in this summer pledge drive and we did really well. And I want to thank everyone. And for some reason, there were two versions of the report. The one that made it in was not my final one. I went much more on length at thanking all of you guys, everyone that was responsible. I left out some of the staff members. I feel terrible about that in that first version. And just really grateful that the board is so supportive and so many people take part in the pledge drives. It does take a village with this thing, even now that we've got it down to much less people. So thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you. And I agree that when everybody works together, board, staff, and volunteers, it works better. So that's great. Music director report is next. There were no action items on that. Are there any questions about the music director report? Any discussion? Hearing none. The next report is the digital production director report, Aaron's report. That was a particularly nice report to read, where Aaron has gotten more, I can't remember. I don't know what he was talking about. Sorry about that. I can't recall right now, but he's enjoying his position and the way things work out together. So Next item is the News, Talk, and Public Affairs report. And there were 2 action items, but one is the bereavement policy, which we covered in the policies and bylaws section. And the other is there is a mask survey, a question about whether masks should be worn at the station. And the staff has put together a survey to get the opinion of volunteers and board, anybody who wishes to participate. So please take that survey. There is a clickable link in the agenda there that you can take that survey. And if you have any questions, Chalet would be happy to help find that for you. Next item on the agenda is the volunteer outreach report.
Oh,
Adrian?
Dave,
Go.
before we leave music,
Yes, sorry, I didn't see your hand.
before I leave News Talk and Public Affairs, I think, the board should go on record congratulating Shali and Dylan and letting her know that the chafing dish is on its way.
Ah, okay.
Thank you, and I don't know what that means. I'll have to look it up. Thank you.
It's a fancy fondue pot.
That you can put heat under.
For your dinner parties.
Very good.
Thank you.
To those who haven't been following around, Shelley got married, so
To
Oh.
Dylan.
to Dylan, that's right.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
All right. Next is the volunteer outreach report, Adrian's report. There was one item. Adrian asks if the board will approve a $500 expenditure for promotional sunglasses.
Adrian couldn't be here tonight, so she asked if you guys had any questions, if you do direct them to me, because she and I spent some time coming up with something to take the place of the objects that were usually in the boutique, which were leftover stuff from pledge drives, which we have very little of now that we sold them to the volunteers during Volunteer Appreciation Week. So anyone has a question, otherwise stay out of it.
These are my college alumni things. I think they're pretty much the same concept. And they're really handy, even though they're not prescription, they're handy to like read outside with. So I think this will be a popular thing to have.
Well, they're psychedelic, they're super cool, but mainly we were trying to look at in the summer, a lot of people show up at events, they're hot and they don't have their sunglasses with them. So, mini fans are everything. We were trying to look at something that would be an impulse buy. If we keep it at $5, we're still making 50%, 100% on it of the cost. Cost $250, we sell them for $5. I don't think it's going to be a problem, especially because they're, very cool in person. I think people will like the psychedelic aspect of them.
It harkens back to the days when WORT was started. Dean has a hand up.
And they match the pint glass.
I move we authorize the expenditure.
Okay, I just have a question. Susan, I didn't see anything in in Adrian's report about selling these.
Yeah, they weren't going to be giveaways. They were for sale.
Okay, because that's not in.
She was. I think it's implied when I was taking it as implied when she said we don't have the merchandise from the pledge drives anymore because those were rightfully used during the Volunteer Appreciation Week to be sold at lower things. So I think in her head it was in her head that she was going from, we used to sell these things, now we don't have anything. Here's a proposal to do these glasses.
Okay.
So you got your glasses for free. At
Yeah,
your
I didn't catch that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. They'd be $5. We still are not concerned that would be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Doug, go ahead. You're muted.
Yeah, I also can't figure out how to use the little hand thing on my cell phone. Yeah, and I've talked with Adrian about it too. Her intent is to sell because it makes up funds that she then uses to buy the little buttons, the little stickers, all of the little giveaway things that she buys. So she wanted to generate some revenue to encompass all of the swag that she buys even for the giveaways at outreach booths.
Okay, thank you.
it needs a second.
I don't think we need to have a second, do we, on a staff report?
Yes,
No, on the motion to approve the expenditure.
Okay,
yeah, second.
Stu seconds. Discussion?
Yeah,
Hearing none.
could
Cole?
yes, I'm interested in knowing how this breaks down. The full $500 is going to go towards the sunglasses. Does
Yeah.
anybody know?
What else would it go to?
Well, it says with items like the sunglasses. I was wondering if she had other items that she
She
was
was either
considering.
going to use all of the 500 on them and have some of these for next summer, or there also are some other objects like fans and stuff that she was looking at that, you know, you put the water in them and you push the button and it spritzes you with water and a fan whirls and stuff. So she was looking at a couple of things, but I have confidence in what she's looking at. She just hasn't made a decision at this point. And if you guys want her to come back with
No, we
exactly
can
what
just
she-
call it
I
promotion.
was just asking for clarification. that's
Oh,
all.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not objecting.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
think
not
she'd have a
sure if
problem.
stickers and buttons are included either. Like, I don't know what her, because it seems to me like she said recently that her supply of stickers and buttons are getting low too. So it may involve a reorder of those as well.
And these can be obtained in time to still be used in this festival season?
If we
Yes,
can-
they come really fast.
If we
Okay.
can get the sunglasses, if we can get them, they're just gonna have a small or 89.9 FM on the bow, but very simple. So that's not a lot of artwork time spent approving. They can be here in a week.
Okay,
They ship from Oshkosh.
okay.
One comment, the Fête de Marquette, the raffle, you always get sunglasses when you spin the wheel there. So I'd be careful not to compete with them too much on that. I mean, it's a consolation. I've got a box of Fête sunglasses. I get one every year. But I'll certainly get one of these work glasses as well, but just.
I always
gotta
lose
be
them. You can
careful.
always need more sunglasses.
Further discussion? Hearing
Gary
none.
will forgive us.
All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Are there any abstentions? The motion carries. I put my own hand up. When I say hand, it comes up. Weird. Tom, is that artificial intelligence? We're having a side discussion about artificial intelligence on the Discord for the engineering group. So
You don't really want me to answer that, do you, Dave?
no, I don't. That was not really. That is the end of reports. Under old business, we still have the reminder about the lawsuit. The lawsuit is not scheduled at this time. So at some point, our attorney and the two other attorneys will schedule a time for that to happen. Even though I will no longer be on the board, I am likely to be subpoenaed for that trial, and I will be happy to continue to support WORT in that effort. I won't act as a board member or as board president, but I will fill in as much as I know about what happened at the time. Shelley, do you have a question? You're frozen, I think.
I do when a truck is
Sorry, Shelley, just terrible audio.
It ain't
Either
working.
either that or you're going by a really weird Make Music Madison display tonight.
No,
It's like Max Headroom. Stu, go ahead.
Two questions. One.
Hello?
Okay, go ahead, Shelley. Oh, we lost you. Okay.
Yep.
You are muted.
Damn. Um,
No,
Forget it, it ain't working.
Dave, what Charlie was
you
trying
can't
to
hear
relate
me
to.
at all?
Callie, I see it in the chat that it's scheduled in July according to CPAP.
Can you hear me or not?
It's really broken up.
Dave sees your message and he's about to respond to it.
So our attorney said that scheduled date has been canceled because the other attorneys wanted more time to do their discovery. So as soon as that is determined, we will get a letter from our attorney, from Christopher Wolski with Men Law. So we have on old business a board staff retreat.
Well,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Stu. Sorry.
yeah, two litigation questions. First, are you and or the attorney going to see a need to read your successor in to being conversed with this or not?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
As
Okay.
board president, whoever becomes president will be right into that, definitely.
Okay, secondly,
I have out on the shared drive all the correspondence we've gotten from them that's available to board and staff. So
okay, secondly, I think it may have been Doug's report from regarding the Thistle review or the Thistle appeal that she was there with an attorney and we should be prepared for litigation. I personally don't know what the cause of action would be, but do we know if our insurance would cover that litigation expense as well?
that was from me. That was not
Was
from
from you.
Doug.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. It's sort of speculative to even discuss
Okay,
what litigation would be.
okay.
Yeah,
I didn't see the cause of action, but since you raised it, I just want to know. is
I
that
just
something
just
that-
noted that Thistle told me that she was going to bring an attorney. So
Okay, okay. And
I don't know if that was, I didn't watch the video yet. So I don't know if that person
okay.
said that they were an attorney or what. So
Okay. The underlying question though is, if we get sued over that, do we have insurance that covers that litigation expense as well?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Who would?
Tom is muted.
I shouldn't be anymore.
Yeah.
We've got liability insurance and we also have $1 million umbrella policy. But this in particular, I don't know, but I can certainly check with Hub/Hartford.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I don't know if any legal action will come of this. It's just speculation at this point. So under old business, we still have board staff retreat, but because we're going to have a new board in July, it doesn't make any sense for us to do anything on that right now. So unless, go ahead, Stu.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think that is an important agenda item for the next board, because I think everything around the station is going really, really well. Programmatically, things are going well. Financially, things are going well. But I think there are questions about the board staff relationship and our various responsibilities and authorities that we would all benefit from a reflective time to work out. So I'm hopeful that that is an agenda item that the new board will proceed on in consultation and cooperation with staff. And Doug is looking very scary. He's like, he's there in the dark.
I'm back in my dark room. I'm not in the car anymore. So, I'm in the dark.
Yeah.
That is all the business we have to discuss in this board meeting. Does anybody else have anything to discuss?
Yeah, new business. On behalf of the board and staff, I want to express our overwhelming appreciation to Dave for his extraordinary service to the board and the station, not just in this latest iteration, but over the course of history. In consultation with Danielle, we were informed that what would be an appreciated, that a particularly concrete example of our appreciation would be a gift card to Food Fight, which will enable you to eat at your favorite restaurants. And that will be, I cannot give you the final figure on that. I will announce that at the annual meeting, as well as perhaps some other things, but you won't have to cook dinner for a while. So and I just hope that the board, when we stand in adjournment tonight, that we stand in your honor for just the extraordinary service you've provided for the radio station and by extension for the entire community. So thank you on all of our behalfs.
Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. I see hands from Dean and Doug. So
Yeah, Dave, we met in 1970.
yes, we did.
You and Mark, and boy, what a pleasure it's been to connect after all these years. Jesus, it's a lifetime for many people.
Yeah.
I can only say you're one of the most original geeks I've ever met. I mean, you were it. You and Mark were guys that blew me away with the shit that you were trying to do. Remember the time we were talking on the phone at your house and planning some demonstration about the Vietnam War, for God's sakes, and we get an emergency cut-in call from Jerry Rubin. You remember that?
Yes.
So somehow the tech guys were working it even back then. Like
So since we're off topic, way off topic, in my vacation, we went down to see Danielle's cousin in Kentucky, and his new wife was 5 years old, and there's a picture of her with Father Grappi. So that demonstration that we had at UW Parkside was Jerry Rubin from the Chicago 7 and Father Grappi from Milwaukee, the Catholic priest who was so supportive of Black rights and anti-war. And then we had Mark Knops from Takeover, the underground newspaper in Madison. So Stu, you're muted.
Kaleidoscope, not Takeover.
I'm sorry, you're right. So anyway, thank you, Dean. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, just wanted to say quick that we had, Mary Joy and I had a phone meeting with Hannah at Wagner today. So the journal entries for end of year being put together. So we should have a draft audit, I think sometime within the next week or so. So it's just about done. Yeah. And that should leave me enough time to do the annual financial report for CPB. So things are on track.
Good. I very much appreciate my time here, and you can't keep me away with a stick. So I will be happy to hang around more. I want to watch audio over IP work. I want to watch WORT continue to thrive in this improbable experiment of community radio. So I remember before we started, when I was talking to the manager of Mid-Continent Broadcasting, who bought WMFM and turned it into Z104, which created an empty radio studio on Winnebago Street, which is how we got our start. And Roger, the manager, said, so what's your budget? And I said, it's about 100,000. And he said, yeah, we're about 100,000 a month too. And I said, no, 100,000 a year. And he said, you're crazy. It'll never work. And so it's crazy, and we're still working. And so it's amazing. So thank you all.
Well, you're amazing, Dave.
Any other discussion?
Dave, can you stay after just a little bit to talk to me about some finance stuff?
About drinking? Okay, yeah. Other questions? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
To
Move.
adjourn.
Patrick
Second.
moves, Dean seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Thank you all. I will stop the recording, but I will stay on the screen.
All right, good.
Thank you, Dave.